you know what I'll do? I'm gonna start, Nelson, then I'll go with Lewis, and then I'll backtrack. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, that was, it was an important meeting, important executive session. You let me know. Good evening, we're back. Sorry for the delay. We had a little bit longer executive session, but a lot was accomplished there. Now we move into the student speak out. This is the District Student Advisory Council, and we're going to first move to Springfield Public Day High School. Nelson Rojas Martinez, who's here, and Shanice Reese, supported by Shanice Reese, who is on Zoom. And I believe that Attorney Peter Murphy will also be joining us remotely on Zoom. And good health to you too, Peter. So is Nelson here? You're here. Come on up. Love the glasses.
Thank you.
Looking GQ today.
Okay, so good evening. I'm Nelson, a senior at Springfield Public Day High School. Today I'll be talking about my experiences as a senior. Due to my academic achievement, my schedule has been modified, and I'm currently leaving at second period, which I'm responsible for 2 classes, English and Algebra 2. Because of this, I can support my sad shopping habits. By making more money on my part-time job, I wouldn't have imagined that I'll be able to be in this position, but thanks to my support systems, here I am. As of last month, I am officially a dual enrollment student at American International College.
Hey.
On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I spend part of my day taking psychology classes. Although it is a bit challenging, I'm always up for that challenge, and I really enjoy the college atmosphere. It is a positive sign of what is next, and gives me that college experience that I need, so I can be comfortable when I become a full-time college student. On Wednesdays, teachers from the community music school come in and teach us about music. I enjoy learning new things about music composition, the breakdown of sounds, creation of beats, and it's also nice to see my peers doing something that they love, as some of them are aspiring musicians. The best part of all of it is the drums. It's the only time during the day that we can be as loud as possible and bang on things without being sent to the principal's office. And lastly, I'd like to highlight the lesson that we learned this week in financial literacy. It is peer-to-peer payments, which is something that most of us are familiar with. In class, we're able to research on apps like Cash App, Venmo, and Zelle. We research on how they work, age restrictions, fees, and protections. It was great to learn about how these apps work because they're a big part of our financial lives. In closing, I'd like to shout out my peers who continuously show up and share greatness that is happening in our schools, even though it can be a nerve-wracking task. And the staff too, that make sure and to do their best to prepare us for the outside world, which we are about to enter. Thanks to the committee for having me, and have a great evening.
Nelson, nice job.
Thank you.
Nice job. And you're taking psych, right? Yes. I was a psych major too. Nice job, Nelson, nice job. We'll now move to our former rep on us, virtual school, Luis Gonzalez, who's here in person. I see Allison Lynch is here, and I know Sarah Wiley and Jeff Hamilton. Luis, it's always great to see you, and come on down. And of course, his cheering section is also here, Mom and Dad. We love that, we love that.
Updates for Springfield Virtual School and the Student Advisory Council. Winter sports at SVS was successful. 2 of our 9th graders participated in a swim team with Renaissance. We're hopeful to see the turnout for spring sports. We are still working together to plan the virtual school's first ever prom in order to include as much student voice and creativity as we can. We have opened up a flyer design contest for students to submit designs for prom flyers and tickets. The Virtual School Student Council is working together to connect staff strengths with student interest to create more extracurricular clubs for students to take part in. We are going to be reviewing the results from a school-wide survey about clubs at our next meeting on Wednesday, February 14th. We're continuing to work on planning a student and family skate night event for after the February break. Student and family events have been popular among our school community. Most recently, we had a school community outing at a Springfield Thunderbirds game. At a recent Student Advisory Council meeting, we heard from the organizers of the Springfield Pride Parade, who are working to bring safe spaces into the Springfield Public Schools community. This aligns with our mission at the Advisory Council to create more student spaces for generations of students to come.
Nice job, Louis. Always great to see you. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Principal Lynch, thank you. Okay, we'll move. Yeah, we're going to, I know Principal Wright is here in person, but Brian Avila is going to be on Zoom. So, Georgie, Josue, halfback? Okay. Thanks, Georgie. Principal Wright, did you want to do any introduction at all or anything? Let's wait. Georgie, let me know when Brian Avila is on. He's on, okay.
Yeah, so Brian, thanks for having us tonight. Brian is one of our 10th graders, and he's excited to share an update on how his class is keeping that environmental momentum from them last year with the combustible trays and some other updates from our Renaissance Student Council.
Thank you, Principal Wright.
Hello,
Oh, there we are, okay. Hey, Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you doing?
Wait, I think you're mute.
Am I muted?
Oh, wait, maybe it's us, maybe it's us.
Do you hear me? Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
See, I don't have these problems on my Etch-a-Sketch, you know? Us older people remember all.
Yeah, it should be working now.
Okay, we should be able to hear him now if his end is okay.
Thanks,
Hello?
Stevie.
Hello?
Test 1, 2.
Hello?
Right now?
We're hearing him.
Hello?
Is he muted?
I don't know.
Hello? Hello?
He can hear us, right?
Yeah.
Brian, could you try to speak once more? Can you mute your microphone and then unmute it?
Hello?
Thank you for your patience. We apologize.
I think they have. Thank you, Nelson.
Okay.
Steve, you have his number? Nelson has his number if you want to call
We could do that.
him. Okay, then.
Is it,
Nelson's going to call him right now.
Nelson, is it in your phone? Cross over here. Gotta run it through Patty's microphone.
Hello?
Oh,
Hear me now? So should I just start speaking or? Hello, my name is Brian Amelia. So should I just start saying the stuff?
Good teamwork, Nelson and Brian, good teamwork.
Do I just talk now or?
Yes, you're good, thank you for your patience.
Ooh, you're so right. Echo. Whoops, sorry. Hello, my name is Brian Amelia. Ooh, I still hear echo. Okay. The Renaissance School, similarly to other schools, is participating in Black History Month to celebrate. Celebrate, we are having an upcoming Spirit Week to encourage students to look out for and appreciate Black leaders in and outside of our community. In our group, there are also presentations of current and past Black leaders to educate students on the positive impact they've had here in our country. Additionally, the Renaissance Lake Group, which stands for Renaissance Environmental Youth Group, has been connecting with other schools in the environmental group. Just a few weeks ago, I was on a meeting with other students who were interested in making their school, Westfield High School, more environmentally friendly. We answered some questions and provided some strategies to gain student attention and that could help us input to students' accomplishable goals. We have also reached out to and are building with the YCC, the Youth Climate Leadership Leaders Program, which is a more experienced environmental awareness group. Look for areas of improvement, right? How is being an environmental group such as REG? Overall, I hope you can look forward to how environmental awareness is currently impacting us here at Renaissance and other schools even outside of our district. Thank you.
To the rescue. Okay. Now, we're gonna go in person now, we'll take a little break with technology. SciTech, High School Science and Technology is in the house, Principal Kevin Williams is here. Janelle Rivera is in person, I don't know if Principal Williams wants to open the statements, and then we'll bring in Janelle also, wow.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having us this evening. I'm here to kind of speak on what's going on at SciTech as of late. I want to brag a little about Janelle. She's a senior. She's an amazing student. In fact, we were just talking about her AP U.S. history test that she has tomorrow. So she's going to go home and study at some point. But she's been accepted to Suffolk University already. With more to come, but I just want to do a
Hi. I'm going to be speaking about things that happen in SciTech. My role is going to be advocate for mental health students. I'm a believer that in order to achieve good, great things, you need to be healthy in mindset. So one of the ways my schools have been pushing for this is by creating a school spirit, one that engages students and motivates students to come to school and achieve great things in school. A specific way that my school has been doing this is that we're doing an Iron Cat school-wide competition, which is where there's attendance, academics, and behaviors for the students to compete for. And when that's achieved, they can be rewarded with high-end things such as TVs, AirPods, and gaming devices. So I feel like that's a good reward system for students who want to come in and achieve great things in school. Also, SciTech is also grading school gear. I'm wearing one of the sweatshirts right now. Uniform students would enjoy wearing, giving a sense of identity for all students, also making students a little more prideful in their school. Because I feel like if you lack, I feel like some schools lack a sense of pride and they come to school and they don't want to wear their school. After the SciTech is also working on creating a safe environment for students. We're hosting a Safe School Regional GCSA leadership meeting this spring for students in the LGBTQ community. Actually, tomorrow we have a winter formal for students. We also are creating a lot of clubs, as well as renovating the sports complex to to include a health and wellness space, open space for students to go to if they need breaks from classes. We're also working on an outdoor concert venue, amphitheater for our band and fine arts. So we're creating a lot of things where students feel comfortable and safe in their environment so that they can come to school and achieve great things in school.
Now to Conservatory of the Arts, Yanira LeBron, she's on Zoom, is supported by Gina Gilday. So, I hope they're on, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay.
Hello, my name is Yanara. I am a 12th grade student at the Conservatory of the Arts. We just got a teacher and student representative.
You might be new.
Hello? Hello?
Try it again, Yanira, please.
Hello?
I don't think it's on your end, I think it's on our end. Technical issue.
Mhm.
Yanira, try there.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, oh, yes, we can.
Yes? Okay,
Yes, thank you.
okay. Hi, my name is Yanara. I am a 12th grade student at the Conservatory of the Arts. We just got a student and teacher representative this week. So I will be taking a student survey next week from the students to see where our focus are at. And I will have more to report out the next coming week. So far this week, I'm just taking in all of the information. I'm hearing and we'll be making a plan with Miss Gilday in the next week or so. So we'll have more time to share next week. And thank you for welcoming me, Ms. Gilday, to this community. I'm so excited to see where this goes.
Thanks, Yanira. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Okay, we'll now move to Central. Mateo Centrano will be on Zoom, and Kim Wells, our Chief Administrative Officer. Ms. Wells?
Hi. Zoom. He's been a really busy person lately, involved in a lot of after-school activities and events, so we're just really excited he had a free night to come and share with us some of the work that's going on at Central and some of the things that we're doing at the District Student Advisory Council level.
Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah, you're good. You're looking good. Yeah.
Sweet, wonderful. Okay, so it being Black History Month, we got our new Black Student Union. The first year we've had that, and it's honestly gone great. We have posters featuring some Black leaders and stuff about the NAACP, and just like promoting Black history and how important it is for our school. We do like daily quotes on the intercom. We're gonna have fun little after school events. And we're also in the works of trying to get hopefully a super educated speaker, like I don't know, like hopefully a professor to bring into the library to kind of again teach kids about Black history and the importance of that culture in our school. Yeah, that's been going really well. And then I'm also having a meeting with Torian, the founder of the Springfield Pride Parade, on Tuesday after school to also add that safe space program and to give queer resources to our kids. And I also hope that goes well. And kind of within all of that, especially the Pride Parade, I do want to continue expanding our internship connections. We have a wonderful woman, her name is Miss Marvel, and she's our internship coordinator. And within that, we're able to get half credit on our transcript, and it says internship, and it looks really great for school. But keep expanding that program. This is our second year doing it. So like, again, reaching out to the Pride Parade, even like the Water and Sewer Commission and their pipeline program they have. We talked with the Student Advisory Council, talked with a woman from UMass Amherst on adding in some of their resources, some from their university. And providing like jobs, internships, work experience, et cetera, and just expanding on what we already have. Um, and yeah,
You're a busy guy, Mateo.
yeah,
Very, very
do a
good.
lot of
And I want to
things.
give a shout out to the Central Key Club. They did a wonderful job last night at an event I had to speak at the
Oh, yes.
Springfield
Our
Lodge
Key
of
Club's
Health
fire.
there too, and all the outreach you have with those groups, the water and sewer. That's a great internship program and career building program. And Tori and Bethea with our Pride activities going on. So Mateo, Ms. Wells, you're absolutely correct. He is very busy in a productive way. Thank you, Mateo. Good job. Tony, you think Patient's going to make it or no? Oh, she is. Oh, I didn't see a Patience. You're usually up here. So now, last but not least, Putnam is in the house. Our student representative, Patience Naylor, is here in person, and Allison Croto supports. So Patience, come on down and then come on back up here after. How's that?
Hi, everybody. First, I want to say Happy Black History Month. That's what today I'll be talking about the student representation. Sorry, excuse me. Today I want to talk about the representation around Putnam for Black History Month. Walking into Putnam, personally walking into Putnam is it's beautiful, honestly, for me because there's murals and portraits around the school, representing different Black leaders.
Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and basically all those are all done by students in the school. So it's not like we're having an outreach somewhere else. No, students came to us and said that they wanted to post them around the school. There's a mural on the, excuse me, sorry. There is a mural on There's a mural on, I'm sorry, the office, the office. Okay, I'm gonna read my notes, I'm sorry. Okay. So, I also wanted to talk about, other than the Black history stuff at our school, I wanted to talk about how our shops are contributing to the growth of our school. So first, I wanted to talk about marketing. Our marketing shop is getting involved with our senior fundraising, and they've been creating donation boxes around the school, selling student designs. Recently, we just had a student design contest for students to input their ideas on t-shirts that they want to broadcast as the marketing shop in our school, so that if students want to come in and buy something that a student made, like a design, that they were able to do that. So we have a couple posted up. We have one that is selling a lot, is our Pride shirts. A student from our school made one of those, and those been making us a lot of money, and all the funds go towards the class of 2024, and we're really grateful for that. Marketing also ran pep rally for us, and they are making our senior class shirts, was also were designed by our senior class. Culinary is getting involved with Black history by serving more soul food meals for the month, for this month. And recently, our principal picked out some star students for complimentary meals for culinary, and they had some soul food, and they enjoyed it during school hours. And also, I wanted to talk about early education, hospitality, and marketing, where they made toys for kids to donate, and donated the toys for them. I'm sorry. And also, carpentry, which is my shop. Carpentry, which is my shop, I'm proud to say it, has been putting in a substantial amount of work throughout the city and throughout our school. We hung the Promethean boards, which is a new, which is like TVs, we hung around every classroom. We refurnished landmarks in Forest Park. We built homes with Habitat Humanity. We installed ceiling tiles down at the community center, altered and created stations in various shops for the next generations after us. And now we are working on a float for St. Patrick's Day and building a
that's my shop, and we've been working really hard for it, for everything that we do. Also, I wanted to get back to the mural. I wrote it down, but I try to just say it out of my head. But a 12th grade student made a mural honoring Malcolm X and Martin Luther King on the front of the school office. And they took this time because they felt like it meant a lot to them and it should be broadcast to everybody. There's quotes on, if you've seen it, next time I come, I will take pictures and I'll print them out for y'all about all the beautiful things that are just in Putnam. And I'm just really happy to say that that's my school and I am representing it, and I apologize for the stuttering, but happy Black History Month, and I hope you have a good night.
Great job. That's our district student advisory council, all the,
Great job. Really appreciate that. And we'll just take a 1-minute recess and we'll go to our regular scheduled meeting. We'll go on to stand and observe, but thank you very, very much.
In a minute, yeah.
hey, Nelson, you saved the day. I think Mateo did.
Know someone that's willing to do that?
Sure, yeah, I think, yeah, touch base with Tad, yeah.
You could, or you could just call Patty and we could,
Yeah,
however you want to do it. We can help you.
okay. Good evening and welcome. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Monroe Naylor? Present. Mr. Collins?
Here.
Ms. Gresham? Here. Ms. Hurst? Attorney Murphy?
Attorney Murphy, I believe, is going to be on remotely. Murph, and good health to you, Murph.
Hi,
Good to
thank
see
you, Mayor. Present.
One more time.
Here.
President will also, I believe, Attorney Mindy Phelps will be on remotely too, on that also. Can you all please rise for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We'll now move to the agenda. Section 2, approve the minutes of the January 25th, 2024 school committee regular session. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, is the motion on the floor? Motion by, I think, Ms. Naylor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Collins. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Monroe Naylor? Yes. Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. Gresham? Ms. Hurst? Attorney Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez? Yes. Mayor Sarno?
Yes, more than sufficient votes, matter passes. Thank you. Move the voting items now. This is to approve projects for submittal to the Mass School Building Authority, MSBA, for 2024 statements of interest as stated as below. I don't know if the chairman of Building Committee, Mr. Collins, would you like to read those out, or we get the specific? I know we have to do one by one.
Read first in full, and then I'll only read the highlighted sections for the ones that follow, the part that's highlighted in red. Patty will keep a copy of all of them and attach them to the records. But that's the significant changes. The other thing is, these all went through the subcommittee and got full support. And at that committee, by the way, White Street School was submitted as the core, as the number one project that will be, the next school will be submitting to replace. So that was the number one core project. And these are the other projects.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Again, this, I think, is going to put us over the $1 billion mark in new schools and rehab schools. We've done the most in the Commonwealth on it, and we're going to continue to do that with the city, my administration's backing on that. So we have a number of them there. I do not have the, let me see if I have the highlighted versions here.
It's part of your agenda, Mayor, do you have it?
Yeah, but I don't have it highlighted. Thank you, Vice Chair. So let's go, we'll go to, here we go. Yep, I got it right here. Okay, thank you.
A1.
Yeah. So now we'll go to A. Let me read the first thing first. A is resolved having convened an open meeting on February 8, 2024, prior to the SOI submission closing date. School committee Springfield in accordance with charter bylaws, superintendent submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority a statement of SOI. Massachusetts, which describes and explains the following deficiencies and priorities for which the application is submitted to the Mass School Building Authority. In the future, conversation with to ensure the health and safety of the school confirming energy related costs associated with the school building. And I'll just read the finish here, and I'll just go to the highlighted points for the other ones. This is an submitting a statement. Get ready for 1 p.m. Do we just go with the other? This is the School Building Authority. I have to use this. Okay, that's how it's ready to go. So I can check this. Let's gather. Motion by Mr. Collins, or second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Monroe? Yes. Mr. Collins? Mrs. Hurst?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Sarno?
Yes, more than sufficient votes, matter passes. Let me go highlight the version.
Describes and explains the following deficiencies in priority category for which the application may be submitted to the Mass School Building Authority to file. Installation of
New windows and exterior
doors on an accelerated repair program. And then the other stuff is front. So the motion on the floor. So moved, Mr. Mayor. Motion by Mr. Townsend, second. Second by Vice Chair Gonzalez. Roll call was required by the clerk. Please call the roll.
Ms. Manuela? Yes. Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. Gresham? Yes. Ms. Hurst? Yes. Attorney Murphy?
Yes.
Clerk?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Sarno?
Yes, one sufficient votes, matter passes. 8-3, consistent of middle school located at 355 Glenfield Street, Springfield, Mass, which describes and explains the following deficiencies and priority category for which an application may be submitted to the Mass School Building Authority in the future. Priority 5, for the replacement and upgrade to the heating system and to place the school onto an automated web-based energy management system to ensure the health and safety of our school children and to decrease the energy-related costs associated with the school building. Is there a motion on the floor, please? So motion by Mr. Thomas, second. Second by Mrs. Hurst. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Barbara Naylor? Yes. Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. Gresham? Yes. Ms. Hurst? Yes. Attorney Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Sarno?
Yes, board is official votes, matter passes. Thank you.
A4, this is for high school council, located at 415 Station, Springfield, Mass., which describes and explains the following deficiencies in the priority categories for which the application is submitted to the Mass School Building Authority for the future. Priority 5, for the renovation and replacement of the roofing system of the school building to ensure the health and safety of the school children, to decrease the energy-related costs associated with the school building. And motion on the floor. Motion by Ms. Bishop. Second.
Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Monroe Naylor? Yes. Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. Gresham?
Yes.
Ms. Hurst?
Yes.
Attorney,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Sarno?
Yes, board is official votes, matter passes. Thank you.
A5 is to submit Superintendent Moore's old school as principal. Glenwood School, located 50 Morrison Terrace, Springfield, Mass., which describes and explains the following deficiencies and the priority categories for which the application may be submitted to the Mass School Building Authority in the future. Priority 5, the renovation and replacement of the roofing system of the school building to ensure the health and safety of school children and decrease the energy-related costs associated with the school building. Is there a motion on the floor, please? Motion by Ms. Hurst, second. Second by Ms. Gresham. Roll call vote required. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Ms. Barbara Naylor? Yes. Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. Gresham? Yes. Ms. Hurst? Yes. Attorney Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Sarno?
Yes, board is official votes, matter passes. Thank you. A6,
Lee Ocean Elementary School, located at 95 Milton Street, Springfield, New Ocean, Mass., which describes and explains the following deficiencies and priority categories for which the application is submitted to the Mass School Building Authority. In the future, priority 5, for the renovation and replacement of the roofing system of the school to ensure the health and safety of the school children and decrease the energy-related costs associated with the school building. Is there a motion on the floor, please? Motion by Ms. Hurst, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Collins. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Monroe Naylor?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. Gresham?
Yes.
Ms. Hurst?
Yes.
Attorney Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Sarno?
Yes, board is sufficient votes, matter passes. Thank you. A7 is for Milton Bradley School, located at 22 Mulberry Street, Springfield, Mass., which describes and explains the following deficiencies and priority category for which the application may be submitted to the Mass School Building Authority. In the future, priority number 5, for installation of new windows, exterior doors under the accelerated repair program. And is there a motion on the floor, please?
So moved.
That's high there. Motion by Ms. Hurst. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gresham. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Monroe Naylor?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. Gresham?
Yes.
Ms. Hurst?
Yes.
Attorney Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Sarno?
Yes, more than sufficient votes, matter passes. Thank you. A8 is for the Mary O. Pottinger School, located at 1435 Carew Street, Springfield, Massachusetts, which describes and explains the following deficiencies and priority category for which the application may be submitted to Mass School Building Authority in the future. Priority number 5, for the installation of new windows, exterior doors under the accelerated program. Is there a motion on the floor, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Collins, or second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hurst. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Monroe Naylor?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. Gresham?
Yes.
Ms. Hurst?
Yes.
Attorney Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Sarno?
Yes, more than sufficient votes, matter passes. Thank you. A9, Rebecca Johnson School, located at 55 Catherine Street, Springfield, Massachusetts, which describes and explains the following deficiencies and the priority categories for which the application may be submitted to the Mass School Building Authority in the future. Priority number 5, for the installation of new windows, exterior doors. Is there a motion on the floor? And this is also to accelerated repair program, excuse me, and of course to decrease the energy and related costs associated with the school building. Is there a motion on the floor, please?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Hurst, second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Gresham. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Monroe Naylor? Yes. Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. Gresham? Yes. Ms. Hurst? Yes. Attorney Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Sarno?
Yes, more than sufficient vote, this matter passes. I believe that's, we got them all there. I know Superintendent Ward, if you want to comment over. Ken?
Just see here. You mind if I check here? If you don't have my, right here.
Yeah, here it is. Okay,
He's got it.
Sumner Ave, next page. I apologize on that. Okay, Sumner Avenue School. This is A10, located at 45 Sumner Avenue, Springfield, Massachusetts, which describes and explains the following deficiencies and priority categories for which the application may be submitted to Mass School Building Authority, future priority 5, for renovation and replacement roofing system of school building to ensure the health and safety of school children and decrease the energy-related costs associated with the school building. Is there a motion on the floor, please?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Collins, or second? Second by Ms. Hurst. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Monroe Naylor?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. Gresham?
Yes.
Ms. Hurst?
Yes.
Attorney Murphy?
Yes.
Murph?
Yes.
Yes, he said, yeah.
Mr.
Thanks.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Sarno?
Yes, more than sufficient votes, matter passes. Thank you. A11 is to Washington School, located at 141 Washington Street, Springfield, Massachusetts, which describes and explains the following deficiencies and priority categories for which the application may be submitted to the Mass School Building Authority in the future. Priority number 7, replacement of an obsolete school facility to better serve the Springfield students. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Gresham, is second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Collins. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Monroe Naylor? Yes. Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. Gresham? Yes. Ms. Hurst?
Yes.
Attorney Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Sarno?
Yes, more than sufficient votes, matter passes. Thank you. And I believe the final one now is A12. This is my alma mater, White Street School, located at 300 White Street. And as school committeeman, Mr. Collins indicated, this will be our #1 incoming priority, which describes and explains the following deficiencies priority category, which is the application may be submitted to the Mass School Building Authority in the future. Priority number 7, for replacement of an obsolete school facility to better serve the Springfield students. Is there a motion on the floor?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Collins, or second? Second by Ms. Hurst. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Monroe Naylor?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. Gresham?
Yes.
Ms. Hurst?
Yes.
Attorney Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Sarno?
Yes, more than sufficient votes, matter passes. And I'll turn it over to Superintendent Warwick to give a little overview. We have to, by rule, read these out separately to make sure that they go into the Mass School Building Authority. And we've had a great relationship with Treasurer Deb Goldberg. And again, we're going to be, I think we're going to be probably about $1 billion now. And hopefully we can get White Street School and Washington Street School in the near future. Obviously, Harena is on the horizon. So let me turn it over to Superintendent Warwick for some closing statements.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to thank John Carrigan and Pat Sullivan
Yeah, done a
from
great
our
job.
Facilities Department. What a great job they've done over the years preparing these projects and analyzing the projects. And I think there's such great respect down at MSBA. We've been able to get more projects than anyone else. John did a quick summary of the project, and that's in a handout for you, so you can read in each category. You see the core projects on that first page, Kensington White, and then the Washington Beale. Then you can see on the second page, the windows and doors, showing you the order of priority on those. And then the roofing projects, which are so important, getting the new roofs on to seal the building. So, and then a Chestnut, which has to be listed under core because of the boiler requests have to be listed that way, but that's for boilers at Chestnut, because Chestnut's a newer school, but the boilers are shot. John, do you have anything to add? I know John's on.
Superintendent, Mayor Sarno, School Committee, thank you all for your support. We're really excited about this group of projects. We've worked really hard to put this together. Again, echoing the tremendous partnership with the MSBA and hoping to build on the continued success of the school combinations, which has worked so well, in my opinion. I'm here if there's any specific questions, but again, just thank you all for your support. We're really excited to move forward with these and see what we're able to get done. So thank you again.
And I want to thank you, John and Pat Solomon. John, especially, I know sometimes you're on, that's 24/7 when we get the phone calls with weather or other issues that occur. So John, to you and Pat Sullivan, to the whole team, I deeply appreciate your continued efforts on behalf of the teachers, the students, and the families of these schools.
Thank you, sir. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Is there comments yet, Ms. Hurst? No. Yeah, I think Ms. Hurst, yeah.
What we can submit for or.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what about like bleachers? Does that fall under MSBA, or is that a cost that we would absolve as a district?
So bleachers is in a category they fund. They do windows, doors, roofs, boiler projects, and new schools. Okay. So we submitted in all the categories they do approve. Any other work we do for the facilities department, or if it's a very large project, the mayor would have to bond.
Thank you. Any other, and again, we also joined our school committee representative, Patience Naylor, who spoke earlier also too. So feel free anytime to interject on that. Vice Chair Gonzalez, please.
Yes, thank you. I want to thank John and Superintendent and Chair Collins on the building and maintenance on this, but I also want to highlight something as it relates to the conditions of our schools. And I want to talk about our alternative schools as it relates to the maintenance. So we just voted to prioritize several schools that, yes, they need the updates and have been assessed by the professionals. But I want to note that in that same meeting, we discussed the condition of our alternative schools that have a higher concentration of Latino and Black students in those schools. And the question was posed and answered on whether we had ever built a new alternative school. It was answered, Mr. Mayor, that was no, because it would never qualify for an MSBA project due to the amount of pupils that those schools have, about 400 and some kids. Some of these schools, like others, don't have gymnasiums. Some of these schools, like others, don't have the fanciest facilities. But the key difference here is that this subset and this population in our city are the highest in need. They are emotionally, at times can be, and behaviorally disturbed students, and they cannot be lost in our discourse as a body. That is why I want to bring it back to the forefront. I've exhorted my colleagues in that subcommittee, and I exhort this body, I also have exhorted our superintendent, for us to come together as a team and find innovative ways in which we can create these aesthetically appealing spaces for these students. These students are also the highest in terms of attendance issues in our cities. When you look at that subset of schools, I mean, who would want to show up to a school that's not aesthetically appealing, compounded with all of the issues that they already have? So yes, we have a city of 20,000 plus students, but let us not forget the 400 some students in our alternative schools and those physical plant priorities as a body. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Chair Gonzalez. I know, John, maybe you can clarify, I know we do rehabilitation work in some of those, all the alternative schools too, John, if you want to clarify on that.
Sure, Mayor. I'm happy to comment. We spoke at that meeting. We put together a PowerPoint presentation, which was presented at subcommittee, which I feel has a lot of relevant points. Speaking from memory, I can pull that up if specific figures are recalled. But over the past 2 summers, Springfield Public Day High School, for example, which is our safe high school, I believe the total dollar figure expended at that site topped out around $6 million. Moving back to Springfield Public Day Elementary School, which is Nye Street. That school was also newly renovated in the late 2000s, all the way up to present. Fully all building systems were brought up to code. that has a nice multi-purpose space. The Springfield Alternative Campus, which is a leased property, in the past 10 years, we amortized about $1 million in project work out over the life of the lease to bring that facility's conditions up. We continue to do the absolute best that we can with the carryover funding and other district fundings, operating funds to improve conditions at that site, at all of these sites. And we certainly hear what school committee member Josiah is mentioning, and we'll certainly take a hard look at everything and see what we can do.
John, any other questions or comments?
May I ask a question?
Yes, Ms. Hurst.
Mr. Mayor? Good point, Mr. Gonzalez or Vice Chair Gonzalez. The minute you started talking about it, I was like, whoa, he's right. How many students in total, if you know off the top of your head, do we have for all of our alternative schools? Like from elementary up, how many students in those numerous buildings?
I think what Josiah said is in the 425, 30 range.
Not just in the safe high school, but.
No, it's spread over 7 campuses, yeah.
And there's 7 campuses?
There's, I'm trying to go from memory, but there's several campuses, yeah.
And are they in the rotation? Like, are they coming, like, we just went through all of those resolves. Are any of those buildings or those 7 campuses in the rotation?
Yeah, some of those campuses have had MSBA projects, like Lincoln has had roof, window, doors, heating system. So yeah, they get the same rotation, yeah.
But not
If I'm able to,
like one school?
Yeah,
if I'm able to,
They're not on one campus, yeah.
But could the argument be made to MSBA? Like, I get the point that MSBA might not necessarily want to do a school for only 418 students, but if it would consolidate 7 schools into one school.
Yeah, when you're doing alternative program, you want smaller settings. The reasons these kids, they don't make it in large schools, so a smaller setting has been the way we've been trying to go. So you're not trying to combine them into a larger school, because larger schools never work for these kids.
And you don't want to get, if you're combining all, you're talking about combining grammar school level children all the way up to high school and young adults on it, so.
Yeah, I understand that. I think I was more so thinking about how do we get them a school environment that is more aesthetically pleasing, right? That is more responsive to their trauma, to their special needs, a place that is welcoming. And I get that a lot of our schools are old and might not necessarily be as vibrant as some of the new schools that we built. I'm just wondering, has there been any sort of creativity or thought around how do we even begin to think about servicing this population of students that we know has a higher need of services? And even the word alternative, I think we need to take a look at, right? Because words matter. And so I guess I was just wondering, is there other ways to think about creating a much more conducive learning environment?
I know.
So we've been looking at it for years, and we've pumped actually more money into the alternative buildings than we have into a lot of our other buildings.
John, could you?
And the ages fit a lot of our other buildings. So John and his team have found very creative ways to find fundings, MSBA school funding, to pump money into those schools. So those buildings have been upgraded. But we do have a lot of schools. Our average building's 55 to 60 years old. We have a lot of schools that are that same age. Some of the alternative buildings are newer than some of our other buildings. So
John, and we replaced 2 buildings that were built in the 1890s.
we got rid of our oldest
with
buildings.
young children that were in there. John, could you clarify once again? I know you gave a litany of all the improvements we've done in alternative schools.
yes, thank you, Mayor. I was able to pull up my notes from the previous meeting. I think there were some relevant points. Speaking in regard to Springfield Public Day High School at 90 Berkshire, in 2023, we oversaw a full ESCO energy upgrade of the HVAC system, which valued out around $5 million. This resulted in dual high-efficiency boilers, new pumps, all new classroom fan coil units, piping and distribution, a full building automation, rooftop ERVs, brand new state-of-the-art ventilation to that facility. We put in a brand new electrical service and new acoustical ceilings in the hallway. Prior to that, in 2022, we conducted a full educational environment improvement where we went through and replaced all of the floor tile with LVT, no maintenance floorings in classrooms and hallways. We also replaced all of the stair treads. We painted the entire building. We installed a new gymnasium floor in the fully air-conditioned gymnasium at Springfield Public Day High School. And in 2018, Capital Asset Construction installed new windows and new doors at that facility over 2 hybrid summers. At Springfield Public Day Middle School, which is presently at the Lincoln School, in 2005, new exterior doors and windows were put in. 2007, upgraded restroom facilities and teachers' lounge. In 2021, prior to the relocation of the Springfield Public Day, in anticipation of their relocation to that site, we put in a brand new state-of-the-art kitchen facility. We painted the entire building. We brought all the stair rails up to code, a new electrical service, and we also went through the exterior. We graded the entire site. We added all new fencing to give outdoor play space for our students. And at that site in 2024, this coming summer, we have a full HVAC upgrade planned, again, to the tune of about $5 million. Speaking on Springfield Public Day Elementary School, which is 34 Nye Street, in 2007, we had a full building upgrade, complete renovation from the prior use, which I believe was a convent associated with the church property. This was the building envelope, the roof, the doors, the windows, full HVAC, ERV for ventilation, electrical service, fire alarm. This facility is fully accessible, as well as all new interior finishes, floors, walls, and ceilings in that 2000 renovation. This site also has a gym, cafetorium type space. At the Springfield campus on Dickinson Street, I mentioned we amortized approximately $1 million over the life of the lease. This resulted in flooring improvements in classrooms and hallways, general painting throughout the facilities, bathroom partitions, drinking fountains. And at present, we're planning on a brand new intercom. And it's my understanding that the church is replacing the roof on one of the buildings this coming summer. I did the math out roughly on those sites. At Springfield Public Day Middle, we were averaging $165 a square foot. At Springfield Public Day High School, Berkshire, we were averaging $205 a square foot. At Springfield Public Day Elementary, Nye, we were averaging around $300 a square foot. And when compared across the board to some of our other schools, which aren't quite atop, aren't breaking $100 a square foot. We just wanted to be reflective that, the district has spent a tremendous amount of money improving these sites and will continue to do so across the board.
Much for that thorough response on it, of what we continue to do on rehabbing and building new schools. Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor?
Vice Chair Gonzalez.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to note for context that, yes, the numbers are tremendous in terms of what we've invested in these schools. But let me also remind the body here that these schools, one of which, the Lincoln School, was that group of students was moved to a brand new facility. So yes, rightly so, we took the initiative and we retrofitted these old schools for this alternative school subset population. And the things that were listed that were replaced, I want to be able to divide them up here, Mr. Mayor. Structural and mechanical things were the majority of the listing, aside from paint. And I think it's important to know what the ask, and certainly my exhortation to the body and to all of you as my colleagues is, and that is, as a team, that we would be able to, with John and the local school leaders, find creative ways to make those buildings aesthetically appealing. I don't know what creative ways, what that looks like. I'm pretty sure that the school leaders have the ideas if we were able to put together the appropriate resources. I don't know if that's lighting, bright colors when you walk through those buildings. I've walked through a couple of those buildings, and I've seen what they look like inside. So yes, the roof is important, foundation is important, again, but when we're looking at a population that is doing tremendously worse than our overall school district in terms of attendance, you have to make an appealing space for them to want to get up in the morning and learn. And that's probably one component of that attendance, but I think that we have an obligation to do so. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'll rest the issue at that.
Thank you, Vice Chair Gonzalez. Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. John, thank you very much, John, for all your
Thanks,
efforts,
John.
your whole team.
Appreciate your work.
B is a vote to ratify school committee chairs, mayor's designation, school committee vice chair Gonzalez, school committee woman Barbara Gresham, school committeeman Chris Collins as the ad hoc superintendent selection advisory committee to set up the protocol and process.
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
So for this committee and for the viewing public, I want to be really clear about my comments and that I don't have a problem with the 3 individuals that have been selected. I more so am hoping tonight to get a better understanding of how this was decided, and when this committee as a full body is going to be able to have a conversation or a special meeting about our superintendent's retirement. Particularly because we all know, or at least 4 of us that are on the body currently, have already gone through a previous superintendent search. And so it was quite the process the last time around. And so I'm just interested to hear, why we all didn't necessarily get an opportunity to decide who would be on this ad hoc committee. 2, what's going to be the charge of the ad hoc committee? And 3, are we all going to be able to get an opportunity to talk about what this process is going to look like? Because it is statutorily our responsibility as a school committee to do so.
The final say, obviously, is with the school committee members. If we didn't prior, I believe the last search we had, Mr. Vice Chair Collins had headed that. And as mayor, as his chair, I said, let me diversify it a bit with the Vice Chair Gonzalez and Chris, who has institutional knowledge, and Ms. Gresham. The first thing, and Chris, you can chime in here too, is about picking the mechanism, whether it's a Mass School Association of School Committees or NESIC, that we're going to look at to first look at the process of how the selection process and the advertising process is going to go. Then at that point in time, there'll be a community group that is picked. There'll be public meetings on that, and then there'll be recommendations put forward that would come to the school committee for final vote. But Chris, if you want to fine tune that a little bit.
Yeah, I'd be glad to, but being a stickler for order, if we're going to have discussion, there's supposed to be a motion on the floor, so I'm going to move that we approve it so we can properly have this discussion.
Motion by Mr. Collins, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Gonzalez. Roll call
So
vote.
during that, well, no, so we can have discussion.
Yeah, go ahead.
And during that process, last time, there was also a number of things that had to go before the whole committee during the process. Like, the mayor did mention selection of a committee, and
Who's gonna
last time there was like 13 members, was a screening committee. There'll be a recommendation that this full board, again, will be weighing in on. So there are steps, there's got to be a timeline created, there'll be steps along the way that'll come right back to the board for the board to have to vote on. There are a number of steps where the board will actually be chiming in and voting.
We have to pick what the mechanism is, whether it's a mass school.
That would be the start.
That's
a
a start.
timeline is also a start. You got to.
You know, Attorney Phelps is on also. I'll let Chris finish there, but that's 3 or 4 process points we move on. Attorney Phelps, if you want to clarify.
Thank you. This is an advisory committee to the full committee. All that the advisory committee can do is report back to the full school committee. The full school committee will have the final judgment with regards to the process. So this is the advisory committee under school committee policy BDF. And it is a standard for school committees to set up an advisory subcommittee. It is not a standing committee. It's for the purpose of developing the process, reporting back to the full committee to approve the process and to go forward from there.
If we remember, last time, we didn't break up into committees until further along in the process. So when we did this the last time, it was not outlined the way the mayor that just had stated. We gathered, or we convened as a full body, as a full committee. We enlisted the MASC to come in and go through the process, because it was Pat Carrera that came in and went through the process with us. And then it was determined, like we were given options. It was like, do you want to have community input? You can do that. You can have a selection process. We met at Central High School. Like, none of those things, we determined a timeline, like we backed ourselves into it. None of those things were defined or determined ahead of time. We convened as a full body, and it was only when we, even for the selection process, we were inside Central High School when we selected the community members, because Norman Roldan was on at the time, Antoinette Pepe was there at the time. And then we split into two, because we had a travel group, the ones who went down and traveled to one of the other candidates, and then a group of us stayed here and worked in the district, because that's where the superintendent was coming from. That was the only time that we ever split. We never had an ad hoc committee the last time around.
Actually, once we did come together and we voted to bring in MASC.
And then the mechanism starts
there was a lot of
then.
work done setting up a timeline and setting up this. And then it was brought to the committee. There was work done that was brought forward to the committee, and then the committee acted on it. So
But we did that together, Chris. We never had an ad hoc.
we didn't have a committee. When we selected MASC, MASC worked with myself, and we brought forward, we developed everything, and we brought it to the committee. I still anticipate this working the same way, that we're got to get together first and decide if we want to work with somebody. There are committees that don't. I'm not necessarily recommending that. But decide which direction we want to go, and that's a full committee decision.
Right, and I absolutely agree with you on that part. I think the point that we're missing, or the point that I'm trying to get across, is that even before, when you ended up being the liaison, because you were the vice chair to the MASC, it was because that was determined after, as a committee, we had convened and we had heard from the MASC as to what the process could look like, what it would, all of the different options. And then it was shared that you would be the direct contact to Patty. And then when the committee needed to come forward and have a vote, or, there were certain things that we absolutely needed to be involved in, then we were. But even before we got to the point that we're now jumping to, there was a meeting of the whole committee, right? Like, this is a situation that definitely warrants like a special school committee meeting. Like, why wouldn't we sit down and have a conversation about, okay, our superintendent is leaving now, he's retiring, what does this mean? What direction do we want to go in? What were the pros and cons, the challenges of the last time that we did this? What worked, what didn't work? I don't understand why we would jump to creating an ad hoc committee, and then not even allow for there to be a conversation among the full body before determining such.
You're going to have a conversation. This is to set up the mechanism of what we pick. Is it the NASDAQ or Mass School Association of School Committees? And then that's going to start the process, because we have a short timeline here. Prior, exactly right. Vice Chair Collins was the lead, period. So as the chair and as the mayor of the city of Springfield, I indicated them to spread it out. Chris has institutional knowledge. Josiah Gonzalez is the vice chair. And Barbara Gresham, the work in unison. But everything's got to come back to the school committee.
So let me make sure that I'm being really clear, Mr. Mayor. What I'm saying is that we've missed a step. We missed a step. Even when we vote on our subcommittees that we have as a body, that is voted on in advance, right? Like, the vice chair typically will say, do you want to remain on curriculum programs? Do you have a particular interest in something? What I'm saying is that we missed a step in organizing and having a conversation around what is the first step in this process.
The first step
that was a unilateral decision made by just you.
The first step in this process is to pick the mechanism that is going to facilitate the search which the school committee will be involved in, whether it's the Mass Association of School Committees or is the acronym NESDEC? NESDEC on it. And then that starts the process, as I indicated off the top of my head there, about a screening committee that's picked, community meetings that go on at that point in time, the screening process that go on, and what's brought before eventually the school committee on an interview process and public process and voting on it. That's all. And that was priorly done at the time by only Vice Chair Chris Collins.
That's not the case, Mr. Mayor. The first step was that we convened as a full body. So if we can't deny that, I mean, that's got to be in the minutes somewhere. And that maybe that's not the process that you want to explore in this moment, which is fine. I think we're better off saying that's not what we want to do. We want to move to an ad hoc committee. But what I'm saying is that the very first step that should be had is having a conversation of the full committee.
The committee
If
would
history,
go ahead, Chris.
actually, the first step, last time the mayor, even before we met to try to choose someone to help us with, the mayor had already appointed me. My recommendation was that the full committee meet to talk about who we'll bring in here to assist in guiding the search. And I don't anticipate changing my opinion on that. Even if there's an ad hoc committee, if we have to get together, my first thing's going to be say, first thing we got to do is bring people into the full committee to see if we want to have somebody, and again, some people don't, and I'm not recommending that, but whom we would bring in, get them in and talk to the whole committee, just like we did the last time. And I think that's an important step.
So would you agree that the last time you were the vice chair, and before there was ever an ad hoc committee, the full committee had convened for that special meeting in the boardroom?
The mayor had named me to run it.
But there was no ad hoc committee, right?
Well,
there wasn't. It was a full committee.
I'm not saying there was. The mayor had appointed me as one person to do what the ad hoc committee is doing.
So let me ask you a question here. So would it have been better if I just said, Chris Collins is doing it again? You wouldn't have had any issues with that either?
No, what I'm saying is
Or
that-
Vice Chair Gonzalez is doing it again. I tried, again, institutional knowledge, the vice chair, and I had Ms. Gresham on it. The point is, it's going to all come back to the school committee. The most important thing right now, you're saying about discussion, what mechanism is going to start to facilitate this search? The Mass Association of School Committees, or is it going to be NASDAQ? Then everything, as you say, flows from that point in time.
So let me make sure I answer your question. No, I don't think that if you would have went ahead and appointed one person, that would have been okay either. I think that try and be as clear as possible again. I think that the very first step was to convene the full body so that we could have a conversation about this extremely important issue.
And that conversation will take place after a mechanism is put forward on how this is going to be facilitated. So, and again, the ultimate choice comes to the school committee members. You have a meeting and a conversation. We have to start moving on this. And priorly, as Mr. Collins indicated, there was one person to put it, and then brought it back to school committee. I thought, let me give an opportunity to not only the vice chair, someone with institutional knowledge, and then Ms. Gresham on there, to work in unison, bring this all back, and then that starts the domino effect. And to reach a conclusion on he or she becoming the next superintendent. But, you know, your comments are your comments, and if there's any other questions or comments not, people can vote yes or they can vote no.
I do have a comment, Mr. Mayor.
If Ms. Hurst is done. Ms. Naylor?
My comment is really that there was several times that we've had meetings in the last year, and I asked, what is our succession plan? I remember sitting right over there, and I asked the question at least 3 times in 3 different meetings, what is our succession plan? We do not have an assistant superintendent. What is the plan? And every time the response was, it's very difficult to find a superintendent. This is a very tough time. We got to just be thankful for what we have. We have a really great superintendent, and nobody would argue that. I don't think anybody's going to argue that Dan is going to go down as the greatest superintendent that we've had. What I'm concerned about is that because we don't have a succession plan, now we're going to rush into a process. And this, to me, is an example of rushing into the process, because what I would have appreciated is once we knew that Dan was going to retire and make that announcement, that we would have had an emergency executive session with the full body to let us know in advance of the public being told at the same time that we were going to have this situation and that we were then going to have an ad hoc committee per your discretion, and this is what you thought. So along the lines of what Mrs. Hurst is saying, is that it feels very not intentional. I don't think that it was intentional at all, but I do feel like I was slighted, and I speak for myself, because things are moving so fast that we have to hurry up and catch up with the rush to make sure that we have somebody in place as soon as possible. I'm more concerned about making sure we have the right person in place than I am about rushing the process. And if it's more about having somebody interim that we feel comfortable with until we can move that process along in the proper way, that feels more comfortable to me than this rush of let's hurry up, let's have an ad hoc, let's hurry up and let's pick a mechanism, whereas we should as a body be able to determine which one we want. And maybe what you're saying, and maybe what I'm missing, is that in this ad hoc committee is where they're going to decipher what these mechanisms are, and then it will come to the full body to where these are the options, this is what we're thinking, what do you all think? And then we have that discussion, and if that's what you're saying, I understand that and I agree with that. What I'm not okay with, and if I'm misunderstanding, please clarify, is if in the ad hoc committee, these decisions are made, that this is the mechanism we're gonna use, and then you come back and inform us that this is the mechanism that we're gonna use.
No,
Okay.
not
I
at
just
all.
wanna make sure I have clarity.
Not at all. The biggest thing is about picking the mechanism to get this process going. We're not gonna rush anything, but there's a timetable. And if at that point in time, we don't have a selection or ready to move, and again, bittersweet that Superintendent Warwick is retiring, somebody he or she ready to go in June. Kim Wells has done a very good job when she has the pinch hit, if there's an interim type thing. But our point is, the superintendent made this difficult decision. I know it was heart-wrenching for him, and now we want to start to move. And I commend him. I didn't want him to go anywhere. I wanted him to stick around. But he could have waited till the end of the school year, but he thought that was not fair, to give an opportunity so we can go out and do a formal nationwide search to see who the next superintendent he or she would be, whether it is somebody local, internal, or somebody from the outside. So the intent is just this committee. Are we going to go with the Mass School Committee Association or NESDEC? And then all that process will follow before, I think, Vice Chair Gonzalez, when you'd call me, I listed out to you what the process would be at that point in time.
But can I ask?
Go ahead.
But how do you list out the process if it hasn't been determined? Or like, how do we even know that we have a timetable?
Well, that's all going to come about when you have the experts, whether the Mass Association of School Committees or NESDEC, coming in about that process. Off the top of my head, the process was picking the mechanism. Who is going to do the outreach, the advertisement, what is going to be going out there at that point in time? And then you're going to go to, you have a community, a certain number of community committee that's picked. Then you're going to have public meetings and input. And then you're going to have recommendations come across. Some individuals who apply, he or she might be screened out right off the bat from the professional association that's doing this. And then you'll get to that point in time, and then we'll have public meetings again, and the public interview sessions that go on. This is just the start this right now. Attorney Phelps, I know you had your hand up.
Thank you, Mayor. The advisory committee does not have any independent powers. The advisory committee, based upon research and fact, presents back to the school committee. It's the school committee that is the driving force in approval. This is the ground troops to get the information, to do the work, and present alternatives and options for the full committee to decide.
Thank you, Attorney Phelps, for clarifying it more eloquently than I did.
Just one comment.
Mr. Collins.
When Latonia talked about having a succession plan, I would prefer, what you want to do is have a bench, have people ready to take over. A lot of people could have argued last time that Mr. Warwick was the assistant, and therefore the succession plan would be, go to him. We still decided we should do a nationwide search.
Yeah.
And my opinion still probably isn't changed. Even if we currently had a sitting assistant, I think I would still be pushing for a nationwide search. It does nothing but enhance whoever ends up getting the job.
I agree. I definitely agree with what you're saying. When I think succession plan, I think if the person who's in charge leaves, that there's a way to continue to have some sustainability until you decide what that next person would be. So that's what I think when I think succession plan, not having a gap and able to continue doing what we do and have output. So per what Mr. Mayor just stated, as far as Kim Wells being prepped and ready to go in the event that we need an interim person, that makes me feel more comfortable that we have somebody that has the skill set that could at least carry the ship until we make a final decision on what we're doing.
The other thing too, and I appreciate Ms. Naily brought it up too, that and I call them lieutenants, but the superintendent has assembled a very diverse and talented lieutenants there that are able to carry the forward. If at that point in time, we don't feel that that we could pick a new superintendent at that point in time, or we're not finished looking for a new superintendent. Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor?
Vice Chair Gonzalez, please.
Thank you. If Attorney Phelps could clarify, one of the things that I think is important that we understand, what if any implications are there to the resignation of the superintendent as it pertains to the contract that he has with all of us, as I believe that it carried out till June of 25, and he is resigning, which is his right, June of this year. So were there any legal or fiduciary implications?
So just to be clear,
He's retiring. He's retiring. Let's get
better
that.
word, Mr.
Yeah,
But,
okay.
under the contract, the superintendent is required to give the school committee a 90-day notice. That notice has been submitted in writing, as well as he informing verbally last week. So the contractual requirements have been met.
Volume was down. Could you repeat yourself?
Sure. Contractually,
Yep,
the
thank you.
superintendent is required to give a 90-day notice and of
Which he
his
did.
separation from employment. He has done that in writing to the director of HR, and as you know, verbally or
Thanks,
orally,
George.
he communicated that last week. So he has complied with his contractual obligation.
Thank you, Attorney Phelps.
It sounded like you weren't going to let him out of his contract, you were going to try to make him stay.
No. And thank you, Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Jeanette, was that you? Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
if I may.
Vice Chair.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for the correction. Yes, the word is retiring. But Attorney Phelps, I didn't hear you clarify, you clarified the legal, his obligation to us, but were there any financial implications in terms of the term of the contract?
He will be paid his salary, regular salary, through June 30th, 2024. That's the only financial obligation that the school committee has.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair Gonzalez. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion on the floor? Is there a motion by Ms. Gresham, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Gonzalez. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Monroe-Naylor?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. Gresham? Ms. Hurst?
No.
Attorney Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Sarno?
Yes, more than sufficient vote, this matter passes. Thank you for the discussion, everybody, on that. We'll now move to informational discussion items. A is Harena Community School update. Superintendent Ward, please.
Thank you, Mayor. we're bringing schools forward that have done exceptionally well over the last several years, and one of those schools is Harena School under the capable leadership of Cindy Escribano. Some of the noteworthy accomplishments among the many, and we talked about how organized, orderly, and they have a very complicated citywide transportation system because they're a magnet, but it's the whole ball of wax with Cindy. The school reached an 83% criterion reference target percentage in the last MCAS. The average in the state was in the 40s, so that's absolutely incredible. While they were accomplishing that, they've been launching the dual language program for us at the elementary level. The MCAS scores, the scaled score in ELA was 488.1, in math 486, and in science 490.3. The SGP over 50% in both reading and math. So absolutely incredible results. Tremendous team, tremendous leader, and we can hear from them now on some of their trade secrets. Cindy?
Principal Escribano?
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Cindy, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you, Superintendent Warwick, Mayor Sano, esteemed members of the school committee for welcoming us tonight. I also would like to say thank you to my coaches who are here, Michelle Bouladou, Cindy McCarthy, Carrie Holloway, Lindsay Lindequist, and to my assistant principals, Taylor Gunn and Shaheen Kiarish. They definitely help me every day in the daily work. And today we have prepared a brief presentation showcasing our commitment of the work that we do on a daily at Harena for our students and our families. And we are eager to share with you tonight. Jose, can I ask for a favor, please? Can you please give sharing rights to Cynthia McCarthy? She has the video prepped.
Sage Serenity Sunshine Hasek. I am a third grade student at Harena Community School. Tonight you will learn about who we are, what we do, and where we hope to go. Let's get started.
An instructional focus is vital in education as it provides clarity and direction to teaching and learning for student success. It ensures that educators align their efforts with specific learning objectives, fostering a cohesive and effective learning environment. With a clear instructional focus, students are better able to understand what is expected of them and can engage deeply in the learning process, leading to improved academic outcomes and overall success. At Harena Community School, we will create learning environments where we affirm and nurture students' identities. We will use asset-based language to honor student experiences and perspectives. We will use evidence-based instructional practices and high-quality instructional materials across all content areas too. Provide opportunities for students to engage in meaningful discourse using academic vocabulary to deepen understanding of content and make real-world connections. Develop high academic achievement, bilingualism and biliteracy, and cross-cultural competencies in dual language classrooms. Provide equitable access to grade-level content by supporting the needs of all students through a push-in model. Facilitate opportunities for students to become skilled readers, researchers, and writers. Facilitate learning experiences that promote productive struggle, value critical thinking, and encourage the use of concrete and abstract strategies to solve grade level math problems.
While the MCAS scores reflect grades 3 through 5 at Harena, there is a collaborative sense of ownership and urgency around MCAS. Educators work together to create high-quality, rigorous, and engaging lessons to develop and foster student independence, which attributes to their success on MCAS. Last year, Harena scored higher than the district in ELA, science, and math. Harena educators and staff continue to work collaboratively with a student-centered focus and lens to accomplish high student achievement.
Hi, my name is Yorleni Lisette de Leon Velasquez. This is a picture of me when I was in first grade. I started at Herman Harena's community school when I was in preschool. I love it here. I am part of dance team, before school tutoring, and I was even the lead in the kickoff of our One School, One Book event. I think the best thing about Harena is teachers help communicate with each other, teachers treat us with respect, they also support us with our learning. Teachers also help us fix problems at school.
Harena School services students from pre-K to 5th grade, with 623 students currently. Our staff includes 65 teachers, 35 paraprofessionals, and other support staff. As you can see here, we have a very diverse population in terms of culture, language, and academics. The majority of our students fall into the categories of low income and high needs. We consider our diversity a strength and work tirelessly to meet the needs of all learners.
Hi, my name is Kimberly. My family has been a part of the Harena family for 7 years now. We actually chose Harena because we had a niece that attended Harena and heard all great things. So my son, who is in 7th grade, started in Harena when he was just 5 years old. And now he's thriving so well in middle school. And I have a currently 4th grader and a kindergartner still here at Harena. They're just wonderful. They're very different from all the other schools because they truly are a family, from the front staff to the teachers to the principal. Whatever you need, they will go above and beyond to make sure they're helping your child and your family.
We believe that collaboration is the key to success. Grade-level teams utilize common planning time and PLCs to analyze data and instruction to ensure that student learning is always at the center of our decision-making. In the 2022-2023 school year, we introduced the co-teaching model to ensure equity and inclusion for all students. Our instructional leadership team, which includes representatives from all grade levels, helps to create cohesive instruction and norms throughout Harena. Closing the achievement gap is always at the forefront of our instructional decisions. We know that intervention plays an integral role in accelerating student growth, so we work tirelessly to make sure all students receive this targeted instruction. Harena's commitment to collaboration and student growth contributes to the power of our success.
Professional development is a high priority in education. Thankfully, we are provided with many opportunities to enhance our learning. Here are just some examples of what Harena educators are learning: letters training, math recovery, culturally responsive teaching for multilingual learners, co-teaching, SIPs, and dual language. These professional development opportunities allow us to continue to be highly effective educators.
At Harena, we embrace the PBIS framework to support all students. When faithfully implemented, PBIS enhances social-emotional skills, academic achievement, and overall school climate, contributing to the well-being of both students and educators. Our PBIS mantra is Strive for 5. Be here, be safe, be respectful, be responsible, and be an active learner. Students strive to embody these principles daily to fulfill academic and behavioral standards. We are committed to fostering positive, consistent, fair, and secure learning environments where everyone can thrive. We honor student achievements through rallies, Student of the Month recognition, and PBIS events.
We have many opportunities for students to participate in activities outside of school. Students participate in Girls on the Run, the dance team, robotics, show choir, project coach, the morning broadcast, and student council. Participation in these after-school activities motivates students to develop leadership, explore interests, and be part of our larger Springfield community.
Accountability for academics, behavior, and attendance is a strong part of our school culture. We set high expectations for students, and they rise to the challenge. Administration, teachers, and staff take time to sit with students to reflect on their progress and set goals. Students take pride in their work by sharing projects with our school community. When students hold themselves accountable for their progress, they not only excel academically, but they also become more empowered and invested in their learning. Teachers also hold themselves accountable by reflecting on their own educational practices and making instructional decisions based on student performance data.
At Harena School, our staff works together to make great things happen. We have so many opportunities to collaborate, research, communicate, and have some fun. We have staff rallies, a morning broadcast that includes students and teachers, team building activities, and staff shout-outs to highlight our great staff. Take a second to read some of the shout-outs on the screen. It takes a village, and I love mine.
Culturally responsive teaching is a high priority at Harena. We know that honoring and celebrating our students and others brings both joy and a deeper understanding of the various cultures in our greater world. As a staff, we engaged in a book study to help strengthen our equity toolkit for our multilingual learners. We updated our classroom libraries with books from Scholastic's Rising Voices collection, and we recently created a culture club where teachers come together to plan activities that highlight change makers in the world. We want our students and families to know that as a community, we can and will make a difference. Como comunidad, queremos que nuestros estudiantes y familias sepan que podemos y haremos una diferencia.
In Harena, family engagement plays a huge role in our belief of Juntos Podemos. Throughout the school year, we host many events. In September, during Hispanic Heritage Month, we march with our students, staff, and families in the Puerto Rican Parade. Every spring, we host our annual dance, art, and music show. Our families join us to cheer on students as they showcase their talents. Families participate in student read-alouds, project sharing, and community building activities, such as mural paintings, MCAS bingo, and many more. Here at Harena, our families know that together we can.
We heard that this year we launched a dual language program here at Harena. We are so proud of it. We currently have dual language classrooms in both pre-K and kindergarten. Next year, we'll launch in first grade, and then we'll add another grade level each year to follow. When you walk into our dual language classrooms, you not only see high quality instruction in both English and Spanish, but you also see joyful students who are proud to share their home language with their peers. We have seen firsthand that dual language creates a positive impact on our students' academic achievement while maintaining and embracing their language and cultural identity. We hope you can come visit us one day so we can show you how beautiful it really is.
Con orgullo, nuestro equipo servimos las necesidades educativas de estudiantes en el North End y la comunidad más grande de Springfield. Our staff proudly serves the educational needs of students in the North End and the larger community of Springfield. Thank you for listening to us brag about how wonderful Harena Community School.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for us?
Well, first of all, outstanding job, Cindy, you and your team, and I know you put in many miles a day down there in that massive school, and we deeply appreciate it. I'm sure that school committee members are going to have some comments for you. So I'll turn it over to school committee members.
Can I go first?
Yes, yes, Denise can speak firsthand on that.
I was going to say, I absolutely can speak firsthand, and you said thanks for listening, and I get to live it every day. And Principal Escribano, I can't thank you and your staff enough. Like, I just got a text message that Jackson is sitting at home reciting the Strive for 5 and currently watching school committee, which is interesting. Hopefully he's going to be in bed in the next 8 minutes. But both of my boys, one completed Herena and the other one is there thriving, and it is a family. And I was just telling my colleagues on the school committee when I got here at 5 o'clock how great you all are with the communication, with the education, with the activities. You know, Jack begged to go to school the other day with a fever. And so I feel so comfortable sending him there, and felt just as comfortable sending little Justin there. And I just can't say enough for what you all have done, not only for my boys, but for all of the children. When I walk through that school, it's unbelievable. And you guys have done a tremendous job. And I will be forever indebted to you all.
That says it all. Mr. Vice Chair?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Cindy, for everything you do over there. I mean, the Herena School really sits at the heart of our North End community, between our Brightwood neighborhood and our Memorial Square neighborhood, and there's amazing work that's happening there. And I think a testament to that, Cindy, is that you've got 2 school committee members that send their kids there. And I'm happy that my little one also is enrolled at your school, and leadership makes a difference. Leadership makes a difference. Doesn't matter the neighborhood, the demographic, but when there's a good leader, the leader will make a difference. So thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Gonzalez.
I would like to also echo the sentiments of my colleagues. I actually used to send my staff into the building to do work with the counselors, and every single staff member that ever had to go into Herena always came back with the same comments about how much you are so concerned about the experience of the students and making sure that you just came up with a creative way to utilize them to be able to support all of the students. And people would say, how in the world do your staff get to see 400 kids or whatever the number was that you had in the building? And I'm like, because they creatively figured out how to make sure that the students are getting exactly what they need. So before we started talking about Portrait of a Graduate and individualized student plans, you were already thinking into the future about how do you support each and every student that walks into your building, and how do you make each and every student feel like family. And I love it that you had students and parents speaking in your video, because it's one thing for us to say we're great because our data says it or because we think we are. It's another thing when people speak for us and talk about the work that we're doing. So it's really commendable what you're doing, and keep up the good work. And I love what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Naylor. Any other school committee members?
Sure, Cindy, you're doing a great job down there, and it echoed all of the colleagues before me, and Vice Chair said that, you know, you've got 2 school committee people who have their children going there. That building's got a long history of school committee people sending their children down there, and in not just school committee people, but all of the leaders in the city from the early days all wanted to send their kids down to, actually it was called New North in the very beginning, and then it changed to Herena. And I had the dubious distinction of, for a period of time, it got changed from the nice family atmosphere of number of grades to only 5th and 6th grade students with kindergarten as well. In those days, the kindergarten was down in the tunnel. And I was assistant principal down there when we had only 5th and 6th grade. And we had about 2.25 times the number of students you currently have in that building. And with 1,300 to 1,400 fifth and sixth graders, sometimes it didn't always feel like a family, or maybe it felt like a family bickering at dinner time, I'm not sure. So, but you got a chance to actually turn it into more of a family, real true family atmosphere, and you've done an excellent job at it. That school's got a long history, and you're carrying it forward very well.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Any other school committee members? Ms. Gresham?
Well, I echo everything that my colleagues have said. They've said it all. And I just want to say thank you to you and your leadership and your team.
Thank you, Ms. Gresham. Before I turn over to Superintendent Warwick, your reward, Cindy, is going to be you're going to get a new Harena school, okay? As soon as possible. Superintendent
And
Warwick?
one that won't need pumps to keep
Yes.
the water out of it.
Yes.
Especially ones that run 24/7.
Seven, yeah.
But it's a clear illustration when you have a great leader and a great staff, they overcome some facility challenges, and you and your team have done that. So I'm very, very proud of you, and from the bottom of my heart, I just want to thank you for your great work and your team's great work. You're all to be commended. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Warwick. Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to B, Strategic Plan Portrait of a Graduate Update. Superintendent Warwick, please.
Yeah, there's a presentation in your package on this. Michelle Balch is just going to present. We're going to bring people to give you an update on the Portrait of a Grad during the year so you know how the strategic plan is being implemented. So I'll turn it over to Michelle, our officer.
Hi. Good evening, Honorable Mayor Sarno, school committee members, Superintendent Warwick, and the Springfield community. My name is Michelle Balch, and I'm the Chief Instructional Officer here tonight to provide you with an update on some of our Portrait of a Graduate work and the district's strategic plan. Our strategic plan was developed out of the Portrait of a Graduate work, which was really a community-driven process. And here's the framework that outlines our core values, our principles of reimagined instruction, and the strategies that we're working to employ over the next 5 years to ensure that our students achieve the portrait and that we are really developing the skills and attributes to ensure their success in college, career, and life. Our 6 pillars are the anchor of the work and really drive the portrait. This year, we're focusing on what we're calling moving from poster to practice. And that's deepening teacher and leadership to embrace and incorporate the portrait into our classrooms. So the what and the how we teach is really what we're focusing on and is a large part of our strategic planning process. We have identified these 5 strategies, and they each have various initiatives that help us get to our strategies. We are progress monitoring on these strategies and initiatives to make those really important decisions about where we were and where we're headed. Speaking of where we're headed, I'm going to share with you a little bit about the work that we've done this year and to share some of our upcoming work. So for this year, we set 3 goals to ensure that there was a commitment to our strategic plan, to cultivate that sense of shared ownership in the strategic plan, and to identify leads who are driving the work. We've done this work and we're progress monitoring this work at the district level. We also recognize that we need to go a little bit deeper and get a little bit clearer on those principles of reimagined instruction so we can have that sort of shared understanding of what the teacher is doing in the classroom and what we're expecting to see as student results because of those teacher actions. So we're looking to see if, say our classrooms are really representing that purposeful teaching. And to get clear on when we say purposeful teaching, what does that really mean? We also spend a significant amount of time really aligning our district goals and our school goals to the work of the strategic plan and the Portrait of a Graduate. So out of that work were these 2 district priorities. So we identified 2 of our principles of reimagined instruction to really get clear on, to really focus on, because we know when we focus on, two concrete things, we're going to get really clear and get really good at those two things. So we identified 2 district priorities, the first being purposeful teaching. And that really is our high quality instructional materials and ensuring that we have the resources, scaffolds, and supports in our classroom to make sure that all students can access their grade level content. And the second district priority that we released that was that culturally responsive instruction. And we've spent a lot of time really dedicating ourselves to that work. And for a big part of the work was that alignment piece. And here's just a graphic representation of that alignment work. So at the top, you see the work is being driven by our strategic plan. The next layer are our 2 district priorities. And out of that, we did some strategic work over the summer on our school improvement planning process. So every school has identified these 2 priorities, but they've been able to differentiate based on, their school context, the needs of their building, and to go deeper in what that looks like in their individual schools. We spent a lot of time working really closely with our partners, school leaders, and teachers to get the SIP and planning in process. Part of that work and monitoring the work are learning walks and site visits. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the learning walks that we do because they're a really important way for us to see what's happening in our schools, to share best practices between schools, both with our district and with our partners. So the district, in collaboration with school-based leaders, have conducted 35 learning walks so far this year. We're currently in round 2 of that, and we have a team of district and school leaders coming together, doing classroom observations, debriefing those teaching practices, and the second part of that day is going deeper into the data. So there's both parts, people coming together, sharing, and creating action steps on that. Huge part of the work. We also have 5 schools that are going to be visited in March by bar communities. So they can take a look at the work that's happening at SciTech, Conservatory of the Arts, Renaissance STEM, and Dryden, because they're really interested in how the portrait is coming to life in our schools. And to hear, we've had schools come on and share the great work. So our bar-funded community partners are really interested in some of that great work. SciTech, they had a 3-day learning walk with our partners at Unbound Ed. They went into every single classroom. So a group of teachers and leaders facilitated by our partners went in, they looked at every classroom from band to biology, to their electives, to physical education classes, to really examine those instructional practices to make sure that they were all in alignment on what purposeful teaching looks like and what culturally responsive instruction looks like. And again, part of that work is creating those action plans and to get results on what they need. Dr. Beatrice Johnson, who is our secondary math director, is leading learning walks with high school leaders. That's assistant principals, instructional leadership coaches, coming together again to look at instructional practices. So we're really talking about here is how we move from poster to practice and how the portrait is showing up in every class every day. Again, around reimagining schooling, part of that work is to deepen practice and reflection. So this is again through professional development and leadership development. We're thinking about the what and how we teach, which are the hallmark principles of our reimagined instruction. We had 36 educators and leaders last semester participating in 20 hours of professional learning. That was just the learning that they engaged in, but there was also in between that work that they had to do. We have another 24 individuals, teachers, leaders going through that process now. And it is such an amazing experience to really unpack what they call GLEAM. And that is grade level, engaging, affirming, and meaningful instruction to really, again, get at those 2 district priorities. We're looking forward to March 5th, excuse me, where we're having a professional development, and it's all aligned to the portrait. So our cohort schools have joined together to go deeper into the portrait and plan what it looks like for the rest of this year and for next year. And our secondary leaders are engaging in, again, this professional learning with CORE, our partner, who is under the umbrella of Unbound Ed, strengthening those GLEAM practices, looking for that grade level instruction, and making sure that our curriculum is both engaging and affirming and meaningful for our students. We have our transformative learning experience work happening. We have teams of 25 teachers, and what they're doing is they're creating units and lessons which are aligned to our curriculum, but have this transformative element. So basically like project-based learning experiences that they're engaging in. And again, it's our way to make sure that we are having joy and purpose in our teaching and learning. On the grading team front, we have monthly co-chair meetings, and we have, on top of those co-chair meetings, those are the individuals facilitating the grading work. We have monthly grading teams at elementary and secondary, and those conversations are so rich, and they're around engaging with equitable practices, particularly around grading. So looking at those habits of work that are on the report card and ensuring that we all have an understanding and that those are really representative of what we want from our kids and how we can have the equitable practices in our schools. And we have 9 schools that are interested in piloting some rubrics to help us really determine those work habits, particularly at the elementary level. Through our reimagining, our POG cohorts are doing amazing things. We're having monthly community meetings, and here we come together once a month after school, and we have representation from cohorts 1, 2, and 3. We have 56 on average people coming in and sharing best practices, the work that they're doing with the portrait, and how they're really innovating and creating these opportunities for kids in their schools. They take time to plan and prioritize. We've identified these 3 pathways that they go deeper on. And again, that's focused around the primary person model, so that understanding that everyone is connected to an adult in their building, that project-based learning and those habits of work. So going deeper there. And we're so excited to launch our 3rd consecutive summer design studio, which happens the week after school. We're planning for that right now. We had 70 participants last time. So again, it's these cohorts coming together, sharing best practices, learning from one another, and really building those resources. Transforming systems. We are currently in the middle of our POG survey administration, and my numbers look a little bit different from the numbers in your packet because we're getting responses rolling in every day. So to date, we have 16% of families have responded. 16% of families have responded. So over 3,100 families have responded to our survey. Educators have an 80% response rate, and that's almost double since our last administration, and our students at 50% and climbing. So every time I log into our system, those numbers are increasing. It's been a tremendous lift by we are so excited that this is really taking off, and our principals are really getting into this and monitoring their progress and seeing who's responded. So we can't wait to share. We have two weeks left in our survey window, and we're going to share those with principals and school committee members after we dive into our data. So really promising results, really leveraging that community voice and student voice, because that is such an important part of the way that we are going to shift our strategies and create innovative opportunities based on the feedback that we're receiving. Just some upcoming events and portrait news. Again, in March, we're hosting our bar spring convening, and that's where bar funded communities are coming together to take a look at some of the amazing things that are happening in our schools. We're doing a student summit there, so we have representation from our schools coming together with other students from across the community partnerships, sharing about schooling and really finding their voice and shaping the work that we're doing moving forward. We are currently launching our POG mural project. It's fully underway. Here is the composite. Those projects are going to be starting in the spring. Can't wait for that work to start. And then we have our Portrait Garden Summit, which is happening March 9th at Central High School. And teachers, staff, and students are going to come together to learn about how we can transform our classrooms in the gardens and to really learn about how we can leverage, additional spaces and projects to deepen our understanding of those science practices. Thank you so much for giving me this space to share this update with you tonight.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks, Michelle. Nice job.
Any questions or comments?
I have one question, Mr.
Taylor?
Michelle, great job. I saw this presentation, or most of it, already, so I kind of knew what was coming. But I have a question as far as the survey. Can we have that reposted again in social media because it's very far down on the stream? I think it would be helpful, even if it was pinned, maybe. I know it's available on the website, but I know people are much more active on Instagram and Facebook.
For sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I saw it, I got an email or something, and I'm one of the parents that did not respond yet. But I had intention, and then I was looking for it and couldn't find out where I saw it. So I think there may be other students and parents that are in the same situation.
Thank you, Ms. Naylor. Any other questions or comments?
Excellent. Thank you for the report. Excellent job, really.
Yeah, the team has done an absolutely fabulous job. And again, trying to implement the tremendous input we had from the entire community. And I know, Latonya, you're shaking your head that you've been on the team, but we've really tried to implement all where we got the heavy responses from the community relative to what they were looking for. We were trying to get out of the gate with those things sooner, but the entire work gets to the classroom and what's happening for the kids every day, and we're trying to work that hard now. So, Michelle, you've done a great job leading the work. Thank you.
Michelle, yes, I want to thank you. I mean, some of the things that highlight the financial literacy about how young people can get in trouble very, very early when it comes to non-management of monetary assets or credit cards. And also the big thing, we worked very closely with the business community. So our students are ready to come out and go into the workforce and connecting with the curriculum, et cetera. So, but so Superintendent Warwick and the whole team, it was a massive project that was put forward. And now, as you indicated in your presentation, there are other communities or districts coming in here to see what we're doing because they would like to mimic that in their areas. So that's a great testament as we continue to move forward. I don't know if any of the school committee members have any comments or questions?
Another testament is the Bar Foundation. They've given us several grants now.
Yeah.
So they're really investing heavily because the work is so deep. So this is going really well, and we're becoming a model for the nation with it. But great job to the team.
If nothing else, thank you, Michelle. Vice Chair, you all set? Okay. Thank you very much. We'll now move to reports of standing committees. A is student and parent concerns. Ms. Gresham.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. We had an informational discussion update on the alternative school buildings.
Thank you, Ms. Gresham. Any questions or comments on Ms. Gresham report? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to B, Building and Maintenance Committee. Mr. Collins?
Yes, we did all the statements of interest, and as Mrs. Gresham just said, it was a joint commission where we studied, and as you can, from all the discussion earlier, there's a lot to discuss there about the amount of money that we spent and everything. The other aspects that were done in that was the demographics, which happened to line up pretty much with our system.
Yeah.
And also we found out we got a lot of schools, unfortunately, that don't have gyms and lunchrooms and So it making us all think about long-range planning now, about what we can do for all of these. And the other thing that it did in my mind and is going to push it down into budget and finance is everything is cyclical in education. And we have tons and tons and tons of programs that we developed because nobody could do it, we thought, very well on the outside, or do it as efficiently as we could. There's been a lot of growth in the outside of us, and I think we're gonna have to, during budget and finance this year, we're gonna have to take a look and see, is it still cost effective? And I don't want to save money at the detriment of services. Is it still cost effective to do everything we're doing inside when we may be able to get comparable service by not doing it inside? That's something we're going to have to look at again this year, I think.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Vice Chair Gonzalez?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to thank Chairman Collins for committing to an earnest approach to look at it on the budget and finance and building and maintenance. I truly appreciate that, so thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Gonzalez.
Mr. Mayor?
Ms. Hurst?
To Mr. Collins's report. So, or just informational FYI, and I didn't get a chance to tell the superintendent this because I thought about it when we were going through the votes for the buildings, but I asked about the bleachers because if you all haven't been to the middle school games, right, in middle school sports, I am thrilled that we brought it back. It's fantastic. At Chestnut, the middle school games literally look like we're at Central High School. It is jam-packed. Like, people are coming from all over to watch middle school basketball. I have no idea why, both boys and girls. I mean, it looks like the jamboree from like when I was in high school. I cannot believe the number of people that attend these games. But I bring it up because on one side of the gym, the bleachers are filled, and only on the far right side of Chestnut can you also sit. There's a full set of bleachers that are in total disrepair, and you can't sit in them. So everyone is just standing, like it's standing room only. And so I did happen to ask, like, why aren't these bleachers out? And the comment was, it's really expensive to repair them. And so I just wondered, when I was looking at all of those repairs that we were submitting, that's why I was wondering, like, where does that fall? Like, is that something that we need to look at? Is it something that the school prioritizes? Because, I mean, I think it's great that folks are coming out to see these kids and support them. But I also thought it just highlighted, some of the building and maintenance, some of the maintenance issues that we might need to look at.
It's a great question, and the MSBA doesn't deal with that category, so it has to be funded by the local board. A lot of our schools have put ESSER money into those kind of projects. In the empowerment zone, they use the ESSER money a little differently and didn't do that. And a lot of times we use our carryover money for that, but the empowerment zone takes the carryover money so they can engage in those projects. So I'll bring that up to the empowerment zone board because that's under their auspices.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Hurst. Thank you, Superintendent Warwick.
I have a question as well,
Ms.
Mr.
Daly,
Mayor.
yes.
I wanted to ask about our mold assessments of our buildings. I know that we are fixing or hoping to fix some roofs and things like that, and we know we've had some continual issues at Commerce, specifically with leaks. And I've received several complaints from individuals, and I think maybe we all were included in some recent emails. I can't recall who was included on it, but it brought forth a point because there's this big push right now to really focus on mold, not just in the schools, but in general. There's a lot of legislation that grassroots organizations are pushing around the mold issue because it is becoming more prevalent, probably because of the changing of the weather or whatever, I don't know. But my whole point is that we don't really talk about that, and I wonder, is there some type of an assessment or something that we do? I would imagine we do. That we can get an update on what that looks like as far as our different buildings, and specifically Because commerce was mentioned in a recent email, if we can get some update on anything that can be done to ascertain whether or not, in fact, there are issues there for the safety of our families and our kids.
Sure, it's a great question. When we have an issue we think comes up, and commerce, as you could see, is on MSBA for a roof. We've patched the roof, but we really need to change the roof. Sometimes questions come up relative to mold. We haven't had that come up for the building. I saw something for the first time today. But we're sending the industrial hygienist out from O'Reilly Oaken, the person at all of our buildings, and they try to get us up to ASHRAE standards, higher than any other standards. So they're going to be doing a walk around the building and seeing if we have an issue, and if we have an issue, giving us guidance relative to remediation. So we're on that. So anytime we have something, we actually have the industrial hygienist come in and check it out. So we're going to get that done.
Ms. Naylor, I did receive those emails too, and I had the superintendent into Pat Sullivan and John Kerrigan. John Kerrigan responded pretty quickly on it, of everything that we have done, continue to do what we're going to be doing in the future. And then Pat Sullivan got back. I think you all got copies of that too, about having the industrial hygienist, the same individual, the same firm I used during the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic, where we did our buildings higher than the ASHRAE standard. So that was the first notice that we had that there was some possibly an issue there. But John delineated everything that we've done, what we're looking to continue to do. You just saw in the SOI about the roof, but we're going to have the industrial hygienist get in there and take a look at that situation.
Just in addition to that, Mayor, just so that the public understands it, we don't just react to problems. Pat Sullivan does have a routine schedule.
Preventive maintenance, yeah.
Air quality is monitored in all of the buildings, and there are reports, and we could ask them to come in and give us a report on, but they have a routine where they go check building by building. I'm not sure of the exact time frame, but we could have Pat come in and tell us to a building maintenance committee and go through that with us. But we don't just wait. We do monitoring.
There's
so we
an
can try to
automated,
pick up stuff ahead
there's
of
an
time.
automated system there.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. They have a very good HVAC system there, so they're actually in very good shape overall. If there's some localized mold, we'll check it out, but the HVAC system is functioning perfectly and there's no issue.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments of Mr. Collins' report? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to C, Legislative Contracts Committee. Ms. Naylor, please.
No report, but we do have a meeting coming up next week.
Thank you. A Curriculum Programs Committee, Ms. Hurst.
No report at this time, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Hurst. Budget and Finance, Mr. Collins.
We have a meeting coming up, and we're starting into the busy season. We'll be setting the calendar so we can get it out to everybody for all the meetings for setting the budget this year. And here we go again, folks.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Vocational Education Committee. I don't know if Attorney Murphy, if Pete is still on.
Peter said he was going to have to sign off.
Yeah.
He didn't think he'd make it all the way through to the end.
We appreciate your efforts, Murphy. Feel good. Feel good. G is the Technology Committee. Vice Chair Gonzalez.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. H is the School Safety Committee. Ms. Gresham.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I is Diversity, Equity, Inclusion. Ms. Hurst, please.
No report at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Hurst. Report of the Student Representative, Patience Naylor, and you have been very patient, so the floor is yours.
Hi, my name is Patience Naylor. I am representing Putnam High School in the Advisory Council today. I will be talking about Black History Month and how it looks at Putnam. Walking into Putnam, you can tell what month it is. You can see murals, quotes, and portraits all around the school representing Black history. My favorite quote from the school would be a famous quote by Malcolm X stating, "A man who stands for nothing will fall for anything." This is my favorite because to me it's a reminder to be a leader and to stand up for myself or what I believe in. And that as soon as when I start to give up, I allow myself to get comfortable with following the crowd instead of my heart and making a change. And that can't happen. My favorite mural in the school would be the one on the glass window that you see as soon as you walk in because it sets the tone of the month for us. This mural was created by one of my senior peers with Martin Luther King on it, quoting, "We shall overcome because of the arc of the moral is long. but it bends towards justice. And Malcolm X quoting, "I believe in human beings and that all human beings should be respected as such, regardless of their color," which signifies unity and the ability to accept everyone regardless of their descent. Putnam is also having a Black History Month gallery walk where they will display the artwork of the preschoolers in our early education shop class. This will be on February 12th and it's for the community to come in and see. So far, I'm proud of the change in the school culture that I see so far in Putnam, and it's only 8 days into February. I'm excited to see how much more will come out of this month and delighted I have the chance to share our progress with you so far. Thank you.
Nice job, Patience. Apple doesn't fall too far away from the tree, Latonia. Any questions or comments on Ms. Naylor's report?
The timing of the 212 walkthrough?
They haven't really decided for that yet, but I will make sure my mom lets you know.
Okay.
Thank you, Patience. Thank you, Ms. Hurst. And we'll go to
Ted Plumfield, a legendary coach at Trade, which became Putnam, and be able to name that field for him, but all the facilities that go with it. So I want to thank the mayor on that because he was a big push on that. There's also, Jeanette was doing an article, and I included it in your package so you'd see it. Didn't know you were going to be here tonight, Jeanette.
You're on the roll tonight,
You're
Jeanette.
on a roll, and that's on the whole financial literacy piece, which we're very proud of. We've been working on with our Portrait of a Graduate. And other pieces, Terry Poe has been honored by MASCA, the School Counseling Association, as Administrator of the Year. And Terry does a great job.
Terry.
You see her interaction with the kids and how she supports the counseling efforts and really gets around the school and makes a difference. And we had the school being honored. They were another school that had that really high criterion reference percentage. So that was just great. And last, there's a contracts report in there. If you have any questions, you can contact Batteray.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mayor.
Superintendent Warwick. Any questions or comments, Superintendent's report?
Just
I
a
ha-
sorry.
Ms. Naylor?
I have one question about the contracts report.
Okay.
There's some that has, like, the second one has a $0 amount. Is there a reason why it's listed?
Let me just check that out.
Which one is it?
The College Board.
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Is Pat Roach, Pat?
So it might have been a contract that didn't include a financial piece.
Oh, okay.
I can check that out, yeah. That's what I would assume on that, yeah.
Okay, just wanted clarity. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but
But we
figured I'd
actually do a
ask.
fair amount that don't necessarily have a financial piece to it.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Collins.
The only other comment would be, as you can see by the number of articles, that for some, I don't know what moved heaven and earth, that the administration at the Republican has decided to finally free up a reporter, and
Yes.
they couldn't have picked a better one as far as I'm concerned, but they're finally paying attention. How long it's been, Jeanette, since we've had someone actually listen to one of our meetings or be able to go to schools, and I know everybody on this board feels it's a welcome change, and if we can tell your bosses anything, now that we're on television, give her the time to do her job, please. She's doing a good job.
I agree.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. We agree. Any other questions or comments, Superintendent's report? Okay, hearing none, unfinished business? Hearing none, new business? Hearing none, is there a motion on the floor to adjourn? Motion by Vice Chair Collins, or second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Naylor. Roll call vote is required. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Monroe Naylor?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. Gresham?
Yes.
Ms. Hurst?
Yes.
Attorney Murphy, absent. Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mayor Sarno?
Yes, more than sufficient vote, this matter passed. Good evening, thank you for watching, good health, God bless, and happy Valentine's Day.
You're welcome.